First of all, I want to thank every one of you for coming on. To come on a weekend where all around the world, here in South Africa, it's a holiday weekend, and everybody has so much to do. But whenever people come on a Sunday, when you have an extended weekend that you probably spend a little additional time with your family, that says that you're special folk. And I just want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to our program tonight. How many of you, by way of virtual hands, would say from the short period, let's say the last 5-6 months or how long you've been on the product, would agree that we have one of the best products in the world that's yielding some unbelievable results? In the way of your virtual hands, I want anyone on here new to take a look at this. Everyone that have had some incredible results, please raise your virtual hands. Excellent, excellent. And some of the hands that didn't raise, it's probably because they're still looking for how to raise their hand. And all you have to do, by the way, go to reaction, and then you can put your hands up, and you'll be able to actually participate in the night program. And hopefully you're gonna get a chance to ask questions. We're gonna get a chance to actually hear from an individual that, in my opinion, has been an intricate part of really helping us to appreciate the value of our product. His name is Jonathan Jones. He is actually one of the legacy members with this company. He's been a health researcher with the Health Support Association of America for years. And as a result, he has literally helped thousands of people for their health to turn around. And what a beautiful thing that is. So when we come on Sunday night, we're going to encourage, first of all, welcome all you new ones. And tonight, you're going to hear some things that may be hard to believe, but I promise you it's new. And none of the things you hear tonight is a paid program. These are people that have had actual results from a product that has a history of actually doing more than what it promised. I came into this program, by the way, about July of last year, and I had no intentions on being on a program like this. I came on this program because Jonathan Jones, who's my friend of 45 years, he's borrowed money from me and didn't pay me back yet. But I decided to come on here because the product worked. Nah, that's not true. Jonathan has actually been an intricate part. When I retired from the fire department, I'm a retiree, captain paramedic with a Metropolitan Atlanta Fire Department. And I got hurt and actually had to retire. Well, in my injury, I actually can only go around the block about 3 times, and I couldn't go any further. Now, those of you that are 40, 50, 60 years old plus, you would agree, once we injure ourselves, you think you're going to recover quickly, but the older you get, the harder it is to recover. Well, Jonathan, for about 6 months now, he really been encouraged me to try it for about 6 years. After six months, I was walking around the block, and I was thinking I was injured, hurting, couldn't go any further. I told my wife, I said, you know what, let's try those products that Jonathan has been talking about. Because people call me about all kinds of products, and I'm sure everyone on here has the same experience. And they brag about it and everything, and finally you wind up spending a few $100s, maybe a few $1,000s, and find that the product does absolutely nothing. And so I didn't want to take that chance now, but I was in a position where I'm hurting, I'm looking for something. In my case, I had a totally separated quad. Some of you know what that is. That's a horrible injury, as well as my Achilles heel was totally separated. I went through 2 big operations. In fact, 16 days in the hospital, 7 days in ICU because of loss of blood. Well, I pulled through it, even though a lot of people thought I wasn't going to make it. And I started taking the products that you're going to hear about tonight. And as I started taking the products back in July, within about 3 weeks to a month, I started noticing that I was walking with a little bit more pep in my step. I was actually walking around the block. Then all of a sudden I went 1 mile, then 2 miles, then 3 miles. And next I started going back to a gym, LA Fitness. Some of you may have heard it. I haven't been to LA Fitness in years, but all of a sudden I started going to LA Fitness, walking pretty fast. My wife walking with me. My wife started taking it. The products were incredible. So tonight, I'm only here tonight because of the effectiveness of the product. And then, of course, there were some other accolades that came with the company and everything else. But tonight, we're going to talk about, and every Sunday, by the way, we want you to be on here to learn about this. Tonight, we're going to talk about the importance of micronutrients when it comes to brain health. As you can know, dementia is on the increase, and Jonathan is going to be talking to you extensively about some things that I highly recommend you get your people on here, you listen very carefully and see how individuals that are going through things, you go in the rooms, you can't remember where your keys are, or you're driving somewhere and all of a sudden you look up and you're lost, and then you turn around the corner and realize you was right around the corner from your house. Well, he's going to talk about how our micronutrients can possibly change those things that may be a precursor to perhaps dementia or anything else. So Jonathan, tonight I was excited to come on here with you, man. Because I tell you, every time I come on here on Sunday, I learn so much from you. So I've taken enough of your time. Matter of fact, it's 8 after. I know I took a little additional time, and the reason why is because I believe it's important for people to know that it's not just you that's getting these results, but anyone that have the courage to look into this program is getting some crazy results. So for the next hour, please help us to appreciate what micronutrients have to do when it comes to what it can do for us when it comes to our brain health. You got our attention.
Bernard, thank you very much. And we're happy with everything that you have to share, especially when it comes to set these meetings up, because folks need to know that I'm not the only one excited about what's going on here. And we've got thousands of people all over the country and now spreading out over the world that seem to want to hear more and more and more about micronutrients. So it really is a pleasure and a privilege. And I'm happy to be here and happy to be able to pass on information like this to folks who want to learn and who want to hear something about this. So as Bernard mentioned, my name is Jonathan Jones, and one of my primary functions is I'm the research director for the Healthcare Support Association of America, a small nonprofit organization, a 501c3. And our goal is just to really get information out there to people who want to know what they can do naturally that could support what their doctors are trying to do for them and help them get results. At the beginning of all of these meetings, when we do this for Engage Global especially, we have to make it really, really clear that the FDA has not evaluated these statements. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. Results are atypical. What that means is that what happens to one person may or may not happen to you. Engage Global, Jonathan Jones, Healthcare Support Association of America, Bernard N, none of us are making any claims that these products or anything that we recommend will treat or cure any disease state. So what we're sharing with you is information that is beneficial for good health and well-being. And that's what we're going to be sharing with you today. So I thought it might be good to just share an interesting testimonial with you right off the bat that may help you to understand that there is a direct connection between what you eat, because we're talking about food. Now, I really need to make that kind of clear from the beginning. All we're talking about is food. We're not talking about a medicine. We're not talking about a treatment of any kind, just like this disclaimer says. We are talking about food, okay? So when you understand that it's all about the food that's missing from food, it starts to make a little bit more sense, I think. So take a look at this one testimonial, and let's see if this does not help you to see that there is a possibility that good nutrition can make a big difference in how a person feels.
Possibility.
Yeah, we can only say possible. Barbara Green, we'll take your question or comment, please.
Yes, I have some testimony, some things that I want to say that I have been dealing with. And I was on the Microdaily ESP for 1 month, and EMF? I saw tremendous.
Let me just pause there for 1 second. She calls Microdaily EMF anything but EMF. Okay, she calls it Microdaily ESP. She calls it Microdaily EMS and all kinds of things. So that tells you what Bernard said is factual. We don't pay anybody for this. We don't rehearse these stories. We don't practice it. We don't edit it. You know, whatever they say, we just pass it on. So this is Barbara Green just sharing her story. Okay.
I even was just taking 2 in the morning, some testimonial, some things that I want to say that I have been dealing with. And I was on the microdaily ESP for 1 month. And I saw tremendous. I even was just taking 2 in the morning and 2 at night. And I was telling you some problems that I was having. You said increase it. And when I increase it, it eliminated the other issues. I just want to give you an idea of some of the things that I was suffering with. Number one, my balance. I would fall. They gave me an MRI. Was nothing wrong with my brain, nothing wrong with my ears. It was the fact my brain wasn't getting a connection to what it was supposed to do. So when I got on the EMS, I immediately stopped balancing. I started balancing. I was also going to physical therapy. That helped, but it didn't help like it, did until I got on the EMS. As well as I was tired. I didn't feel like doing nothing. I had pain constantly in my knee, my left knee. I had surgery. I had a knee replacement, and that didn't do me any good. Matter of fact, the chief doctor at Ochsner said that I shouldn't have had the surgery because it was my back. I suffer with severe inflammation that automatically almost just lessened after 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks on the micronutrients. Then my brain, I couldn't remember nothing. I was forgetting. I have not been on it since January because I started in December the 27th. My orders still haven't came in yet. So I'm a testimony. Please get an extra bottle if you can, because if you run out, your body gonna tell you need your micro daily. And my pain came back, my mucus came back, and it's all from not being consistent with and even my appetite. I was telling you that I was losing weight, but then I started desiring sweets. You told me to get on the fatty meats, which is salmon, and I did it. My appetite went back. My weight, I'm at a standstill. But I'm sure when I get back my micro daily in my system, I'm going to be back on track. I'm serious. I could not live without it from what I've seen thus far. Another thing, I have eye problems really bad. I've had the cataract surgery, and I can't wait to get on the the CBD, not the CBD, the ones for the eye. Yeah, and then we're not going to leave the CBD out because I'm depression. Anyway, we ain't going to even go there. Anxiety, all of the above. So I am really a living testimony that these micronutrients work, and in a short span of time for my body.
That's quite impressive and amazing. So sorry that you're having the issues, but well, there you have it. That's one example of an individual. Now, she mentioned a lot of things. She talked about all kinds of things with knees and back and everything else. But did you pick up in there that the doctor said to her that there was a disconnect between her brain? So there was some kind of a disconnect. But she mentioned clearly that her memory started to come back. What was it that took place? What happened here with her? Well, I found this one commentary by a neurologist that I want to share with you all, because it really starts to describe something. Now, she focuses in on it from a COVID brain perspective. So she talks a lot about COVID brain. So let's take a look at what this woman says, and then you see for yourself. And then I got another little story to share with you, another testimonial that directly correlates with what this woman has to say about what's happening with people and the brain when it comes to this COVID issue. Okay, so hang on a second.
In the brain can cause dysregulation of a number of different cell types and have lasting consequences to cognitive function. Understanding that, when the pandemic struck and we saw how profoundly immunogenic, how profoundly inflammatory, even relatively mild cases of COVID could be, I really worried about a neurological health crisis. And I think we're watching that unfold right now. The rates of persistent cognitive symptoms in people who have recovered from COVID is frankly alarming. We need to understand how to intervene and offer effective therapy, or there are going to be just millions of people suffering with these persistent cognitive symptoms. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not a virologist. I'm a neurologist. But I am alarmed by the neurological possible consequences of this pandemic, and alarmed by the neurological disease that's already evident in many, many, many survivors of COVID. Even from early in the pandemic, it was very clear to neurologists that COVID infection results in a remarkably high rate of persistent neurological symptoms, including quite a high rate of persistent cognitive symptoms that includes things like difficulty paying attention, difficulty with the speed of information processing, difficulty with concentration and memory. And that is something that we should all be paying a lot of attention to. That is really, really concerning. It's debilitating. People are just not returning to their previous level of function. And that's a major problem with 265 million people worldwide infected with COVID, and some estimates of as many as 1 in 4 people, at least prior to the time of vaccination, experiencing these cognitive symptoms. This is a neurological health crisis. I'm a neuro-oncologist, and one of my clinical specialties is to take care of people following cancer therapy who have persistent brain fog, cognitive impairment as a result of their cancer and its therapy. And this so-called chemo brain or chemo fog is very similar to what people are describing after COVID. And so this so-called COVID fog shares almost the identical symptoms. And what we're finding in the laboratory is that the two types of brain fog also share a lot of the very same cellular changes that we think are underpinning this sort of fogginess. We know that with severe COVID infection that many things can go wrong, that severe disease is associated with blood clots that can cause stroke, with even direct infection of the brain, and with the consequences of multi-organ disease and damage. But even after mild COVID, people were reporting persistent cognitive trouble. And I wondered whether the inflammatory response just to the respiratory infection might be enough to trigger neuroinflammation, inflammation in the brain, and consequently dysregulate these cells that are so important to keep in balance for healthy cognitive function. What we discovered in the laboratory in mice that have relatively mild respiratory COVID, and then in human samples, COVID elicits such a profound inflammatory response in the brain. And as a result of that, brain cells that need to work together in order to communicate and function normally were dysregulated. In severe cases of COVID, there can be direct infection of the brain, but in many cases, there's no evidence of virus in the brain. What's happening to affect the brain instead is a consequence of the immune response to the virus. And what we studied was how the immune response to infection that was limited to the respiratory system could cause inflammation in the brain through signaling molecules that go from the lung, through the blood, and to the brain. We found pretty high levels of inflammatory molecules called cytokines and chemokines in the central nervous system just from mild respiratory infection. And together with that, we saw inflammation in a particular kind of brain immune cell, which is called a microglia. When microglia and astrocytes become reactive, they then can cause dysregulation of another kind of glial cell that form the insulation around axons, quite literally like the insulation on a wire. When that happens, the neurons, the communicating cells in the brain, can't communicate with each other in their normal way, not as quickly and not as well. And so that can cause dysregulation of the whole circuit and cause cognitive impairment. this pathophysiology is particularly prominent in COVID.
Okay, we're going to pause. I'll pause right there. And just try to point out a couple of things, because she said a mouthful there, and I don't want to go too far without pointing out just one or two little things. When she mentioned this section here about what happens with these particular brain cells in the body, the microglia and the axon, all being affected by these cytokines and chemokines. What that means is, as your body is reacting to something, as the body is fighting something off, Dr. Prasad has even said this on some of our discussions. The immune system turns on the alarm system. That's cytokines and chemokines being released through the body. Now, what Barbara Green described earlier was a massive amount of whole body inflammation. Mixed in with all of that, she describes her memory issues. This neurologist here comes along and describes some incredible physiological connection between inflammatory responses in the body, specifically connected to COVID, having a causal effect on the brain. So when the body is dealing with massive amounts of inflammation, releasing cytokines and chemokines, that causes the brain and the brain's immune system to get fired up. When the brain's immune system gets fired up, that's when everything we see here starts to have a problem. Now, see if I can get to the first picture where she described this issue. Okay, she talked about, here we go. This is the overall picture. The microglia, that's that pink thing. And the axon is the part that is the communication. So you can see the axon is a blue thing with a long tail on the end of it. That's a neuron, the part of the neuron that's critical for communication. Now, what's communication? I don't mean words, although I do mean words, but I mean the tapping into the part of the brain where the word is stored and then connecting that to what's coming out of your mouth. You're thinking of, what's that football team that's in Florida? They played, and there was this really good guy there one time for a while, and the team hasn't been doing that great here. Like, what's that football team? The thing that swims in the water. What's that called again? Yeah, you got it. See, so while your brain is trying to come up with the word dolphin, I'm in Florida, sorry. While your brain is trying to come up with the word dolphin, it's because of the damage that she describes there on the axon. She, right here, all because of inflammation, and Dr. Prasad covered a lot of this also, all because of, see this inflammatory signals, those orange little dots you see right there, that disrupts, it dysregulates communication in the brain. So could it be that there's a connection between massive inflammation in the body, period, and COVID brain or brain fog? Set COVID aside. Could inflammation and the immune system trying to deal with inflammation, could there be a connection? Well, personally, this is just my opinion again. So I encourage everybody, don't do anything I say because I say it. I'm not a doctor. And I strongly recommend that you seek the competent advice of medical professionals that you trust when it comes to anything like this. But let's hear Kamalia's story. Now, Kamalia had COVID. Kamalia was diagnosed with COVID brain. Listen to her tell her story, okay? This is just about a 3-minute testimony, and then we'll tell you a little bit about how MicroDaily works. Let's see if that works.
Hi, it's Kamalia.
Kamalia, sorry.
No, that's okay. No one gets it right, but that's okay. Hi, Dr. Prasad. How are you, Bruce? I had COVID it's like a year and a half now, I believe. And I had really bad brain fog and where I could not speak clearly. I stumble over my words and my thoughts. I'm a nurse, okay? So it's kind of difficult to assess a patient or remember what medicines to give or how much, and did I get it right and stuff. So I've been off of work anyway for quite a bit of time since I got COVID. So Dr. Piccola had introduced me to the micro EMF. Way before that, I had COVID, but I was getting that problem. But she introduced me just when I got bronchitis as well, and I was coughing a lot. And she was telling me that I was going to a wedding. You can't go to a wedding and be coughing. So she sent me the packet of the EMF and told me to open them up, open one every hour, and put it under my tongue, which, yes, it is a horrible taste. It's like you're putting dust in your mouth, and drink a lot of water. And I did that. And so that helped that with the cough. I didn't cough at the wedding at all. So that was a real gift there. And then with the brain fog, when she introduced me to get the packet, I didn't get Dr. Prasad's choice because I couldn't afford it, but I got the EMF, the brain boost, and the collagen. And I have to say that after taking the brain boost, it was such a pleasure to be able to speak a complete sentence without stumbling, without, I couldn't think of simple words like go, stop, up, down, whatever. They weren't coming out of my mouth. And
Wow.
And it was so frustrating, and repeating myself and stumbling. And so I was able to really think straight, think clearer, remember things that I was like, wow, I can't believe I remembered that. So, and in medicine, you got to remember things, what you're doing, why you're giving this medication, why you're doing that. And I was able to remember and recall. My recall was coming back. I was like, wow, this is unreal. I was really impressed with it. And with my migraines, I've suffered from migraines since I was 18. I am 70 plus years old right now. And
before you go into that, Kamalia,
yes.
What year was that you said that you got COVID?
I got COVID in 2021. I think it was
2021.
I believe it's 2021. It was 2021. Yes.
And by that time, a vaccine was available. Since you're in the nursing profession, were you vaccinated?
No, sir.
Oh, you had not gotten vaccinated. Okay.
No,
so you came down with it, and but you were able to regain your cognitive function and your body function just using the micronutrients, as Dr. Piccola told you.
Correct. And the other thing as well, due to the COVID, my CAT scan of my lungs, showed different nodules and stuff in it, and my pulmonary function test was bad as well. I couldn't. Wow. Yeah, I failed. I didn't do well with the first two pulmonary function tests that I had taken, and I was taking the EMF. I can't remember when I started. I'm sorry, I don't really remember when I started using it regularly. And I was told, take 5 before I get my CAT scan and 5 after. Mm-hmm. So I was doing that. And the third pulmonary function test and the third CAT scan had improved.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. That is extremely helpful in us understanding the benefits of micro daily in dealing with this terrible viral infectious condition. Well, there you have it. And I don't know if you were really paying attention to or making a connection there. But now this is Kamalia, and she's telling her story almost exactly the way that neurologist was describing. Now, the neurologist was, again, going on about inflammation, cytokines, and chemokines. That's just the body trying to respond to an issue. Specifically in her case, in Kamalia's case, Specifically, it was related to COVID. Barbara Green's story was all about just inflammation in the body in general. Okay, so both of them, you can see that inflammation in general is the problem. But the thing that they both had in common was micronutrients. They both used micronutrients and felt that micronutrients directly impacted their ability to regain their mental faculties and their ability to remember simple, basic words. They both said the same thing. Now, the question you might be asking yourself now is how and why? All we're talking about here is a vitamin. Is that what we're talking about? Is there really something special about this thing that makes it so that people can tell these, what some people might say are crazy stories about getting all kinds of outrageous results that they believe is happening? Because again, we're not making any claims here. We don't claim that microdaily EMF is a treatment or cure for any disease state. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. But we can tell you this about microdaily: it's daily nutrition. That's all. It's daily nutrition. It's the food that's missing from food. And that's the way that I like to describe it. What's the big deal? Well, it was never intended for the general public. So, and I almost hate to say that, but this micronutrient formula was never designed for you and I to get access to this. In fact, if all of us, there's 82 connections on this meeting right now, if all of us sat down and we were taking a vote right now and we were making a recommendation to a vitamin company, we all work for this vitamin company, and we sat down and we all collectively said, listen, let's make a vitamin that's going to help humanity. Let's make a vitamin that's going to help people to regain their mental faculties and to slow down the possibilities of Alzheimer's and dementia, and really help people not to get brain fog, or that, as some people affectionately call it, sometimers. Let's make that vitamin. Let's do that. We'd all get fired because that's not in the financial best interest of the company to make something that's going to have that kind of an impact on a segment of society that people feel are already in decline and their best working years have passed. Now, but the government was interested in having something that could help soldiers on the battlefield be in optimal health. Young, healthy, 20-something-year-olds. They wanted them in the most toxic environment on planet Earth, eating the worst possible foods you could conceive. Being in high-stress environments, the government wanted something that they could take that could keep them functioning. Interesting. Dr. Prasad stepped up to the plate. Dr. Prasad put this formula together. All the vitamin companies on the planet now, all the vitamin companies in the country had an opportunity to answer the call and provide the government with a formula that could do this, but only Dr. Prasad did. It passed all the animal studies. It passed all the safety tests. Now, this safety test part here, understand something. That means that it passed 9 months of safety testing with the IRB. That's the Internal Review Board, U.S. Military Internal Review Board. That's no small task. That's no small feat. That's a big deal, because that meant that Dr. Prasad had to prove that there were no contraindications with any known pharmaceutical drugs. Do you understand that? Because out of the hundreds of thousands of people in armed services who could be taking any number of medications, the last thing that they needed was to introduce something to them that's supposed to make them better, but that would contraindicate with their Lipitor, contraindicate with their blood thinner, contraindicate with their diabetes medication, contraindicate with their high blood pressure medication, contraindicate with their heart medication, or anything else that they were taking. Dr. Prasad had to prove that there were no contraindications with any known pharmaceutical drugs, and it passed. It went on to human clinical trials, and then finally it was released. It wasn't until about 2015, something like that, that it actually became available to the general public. We weren't intended to have this. So just remember that as you say to yourself, what's so special about this? And I can tell you this, that there's millions of dollars that was invested in making this product. This is the man that formulated it. This is the reason why it's not normal. This is very, very different. This man was the professor at the University of Colorado School of Medicine. He was also invited to be a member of the Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee. That's right. That's for real. He's not just some college graduate looking to make a name for himself while coming out of college and hoping to formulate something. That's not at all who we're talking about here. We're talking about a man who has a storied background. He's the one that put this formula together. He's the same man who created the formula for the government, is the chief science officer now behind MicroDaily. This is the brain. He also was the world's first radiation biology PhD. So he put something in this to help our bodies deal with the radiation. You know, because radiation can cause a whole lot of unknowns in the body. But something about this formula that's neutralizing that and offsetting it. He's been published many, many times and written a bunch of books. It says 29 here, but Dr. Prasad has already written 32 books. He's working on his 33rd book right now. His partnership with David Nemelka is what's made the company engage global. That's why we have this incredible product right here called MicroDaily. Now, as far as the brain is concerned, there's a bunch of things on here that have a direct effect on the brain, a bunch of things. And we don't have time to talk about them all because we really want to take some of your questions toward the end. I have one more testimonial that you have to see that's going to kind of blow your mind. But look at this. Now, if you're like me, and I've been doing research for a long time, and I did not know that there were many, many kinds of vitamin E, okay? But there are. Dr. Prasad is the scientist who figured out that vitamin E succinate is cytotoxic to cancer cells. Dr. Prasad is the scientist who figured that out. So if you had to choose a vitamin E that you were going to be ingesting for your skin or for whatever reason you're taking vitamin E, wouldn't it be nice to have one that, oh, by the way, while it's there, is also taking care of cancer? Even if it's taking care of 1 or 2 cells here and there, that's a nice thing to have. But interesting, this stuff crosses the blood-brain barrier, folks. It nourishes and protects the brain against excessive glutamate-induced cell death throughout the body. Now, just the connection there with the brain is good enough. It crosses the blood-brain barrier. I asked Dr. Prasad personally, does that mean that this product is good for glioblastoma or brain cancer? He says it would if we could get enough of it across into the brain area. So he would never say that there was a direct connection there between the two. But I'm here to tell you that is a very, very positive thing there for the brain. There's also something else very interesting here. This crosses the blood-brain barrier. In fact, you can see it right below here at the bottom of it where I put my line through. Do you see that? Brain health. Right there. How does it do that? Very simple. It raises glutathione. Glutathione is the body's master antioxidant, and there's a whole bunch of it in your brain. Do you know that the brain uses the most amount of oxygen in your entire body, including your lungs? The brain consumes the most oxygen in your entire body, which means the most amount of oxidative stress and the highest amount of free radicals and oxyradicals is in the brain. If you don't have something like glutathione detoxifying your brain, and also collagen daily, by the way, helps to with the removal of beta amyloids and blocking beta amyloids from damaging neurons as well. Those two things critically important as far as brain health is concerned. But this is seriously, seriously important right here that you've got N-acetylcysteine in there. This also promotes glutathione, promoting glutathione, and everything else that's in here is all ameliorating oxidative stress and inflammation. So think about it now. Are you making the connections here? From the very beginning, everything is about inflammation, inflammation, inflammation. The neuroscientists indicated that inflammation triggers cytokines and chemokines in the body. Doesn't matter where it is. Anywhere in the body, cytokines and chemokines can take place. That in turn can trigger the same inflammatory response in the brain. And if your brain is not being protected by micronutrients, what was I supposed to say next? I'm just trying to illustrate the point. We become forgetful. And just so you know, I take brain boosts just before every one of these presentations, so I don't forget things, because I've already found out that when I decide to skip it, I'm always getting one of those little brain freezes somewhere in there. So I try to make sure that I take it ahead of time. But here's what you're looking at right here on this screen. Okay, chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is being described. This is what you're looking at. This is what a normal cell should look like. This is what happens when there's oxidative stress or free radical damage. Cells begin to degrade. Bad, bad, bad. What you need is micronutrients in the body to help cells to remain healthy. Then there's no cytokine storm. There's no chemokines taking place. Nothing being released into the bloodstream that can trigger brain fog. It's better not to get COVID at all. But even if you don't get COVID, there's so many toxic things going into our body that can cause inflammation. The absolute best product that this company makes is this one right here, folks. So if your budget can bear, you want that one. And you also want to make sure that you get brain boosts, right? These two things here are incredible. I don't have a picture of the collagen daily, but those three, incredible as far as the brain is concerned. No question about it. Those are the three that you want to get. But if you have to get them in a certain order, I would say EMF, brain boost, then collagen daily. Those in that order will be the way to go. And if your budget can bear it, make sure you get the probiotic boost in there as well. Okay, so I'm not going to talk anymore about the rest of these items here, because I really want to show you, let you hear a testimonial, because I don't know if you paid attention to it or not, but that neurologist indicated that as a consequence of all this inflammation taking place, heart attacks and stroke can take place. And we got one more story we want to share with you that that actually just happened. It did the very thing that we're concerned about did take place. And there was some interesting positive results that happened that anyway, I think you'll appreciate it. So let's see if we can't get to that real quick. Hang on one second here. Find that. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna play it a little bit at the higher speed, if you guys don't mind. Okay, that way it will go through it a little bit quicker. The first person, this is Terri Fitzgerald. Terri and I go back a number of years. We graduated from high school together. Can you just maybe start out? Just tell us how the story began.
Okay, so I heard Althea mention at the beginning the connection of stroke and COVID-19. I had been reading up on that too, because the fact is, stroke has always kind of been the boogeyman of my life. I was always aware of the threat. My grandmother had a massive stroke at 81 and died, and my baby brother was 28 when he was riding home from a wedding reception with his family, and he had a brain aneurysm and he died. So, it was always like, oh my, I could have a stroke. And when they diagnosed me with sarcoidosis back in 1990 and gave me mega doses of steroids and all kinds of other toxins, my system went into just uncontrollable high blood pressure, and that's where I live. And so it was always kind of the specter of a vascular accident, heart attack, or stroke happening. So I tried to eat right. I tried to do the things you need to do, and didn't process stress well, but still I tried. And then, well, guess what? Tuesday, May 5th, the boogeyman came knocking at my door. Stroke. I had a stroke. And I had watched all the videos with the people in the society's videos of people having strokes and, coming back, and the friends and the family, but nothing prepares you for that. Nothing prepares you for that. My husband said, well, he called the paramedics right away. He said that I said, I have no idea. But he says, I said, I'm scared. I don't know what I said, but I knew right in that very ordinary instant, I was getting ready to get up and go get ready for the meeting. Everything in my life changed.
That's amazing. So that was this past Tuesday night this took place.
Yes.
So you made it to the hospital, and it was a very short period of time before the paramedics got there. So about 5 or 6 minutes before they got there. So what was your stay in the hospital like, and what was the prognosis?
Got there, ER, everybody was moving me around and yelling the words brain attack, which I wasn't really familiar with, but they kept saying brain attack, And that was a bit disconcerting, but they kept trying to keep me calm and they kept running all kinds of tests. And so
Keep you calm while shouting brain attack.
While shouting brain attack, exactly. But anyway, finally, the neurologist came in and he just looked me in the eye and he said, "You've had a stroke." And he started talking about giving me that injection. You hear people talk about where if they get it in you right away, it's supposed to dissolve blood clots. But he let me know, he was a very good doctor, I feel. He let me know that he wasn't too sure the risk would outweigh the benefits, because he said it will make you bleed everywhere. It will just make you hemorrhage inside and out. And there is that problem for you since you don't believe in blood transfusion. And I asked him what he thought I should do. And he says, "Well, I really don't think you should take it." And he said, "We'll see how things go. You seem to be a candidate for some recovery." So then they started using those words like blood clot, and then they kept saying occlusion, and then they'd say stuff like cyst at the base of the brain. I don't know. But anyway, their big concern was this occlusion. And they kept saying, it was shutting off part of my brain. The blood was not flowing freely there. And so because of that, I was going to have problems. They put me in ICU for a while. And the thing of it was, I suddenly realized that left side of my body was gone. I no longer had. They'd ask me if I could see. They do this little finger. I couldn't see anything, couldn't move anything. Nothing was happening. When they stand me up, I'd fall over. I couldn't sit up, couldn't stand up, because it was just gone. And they were very encouraging. They kept saying, "Well, in time, if you don't give up, if you, keep your spirits up, you will eventually get this side of your body back." I mean, you see, I'm waving both hands though, but they said eventually, because it was gone at that point, and it wasn't something that they thought there would be a quick.
Now, I'm going to pause it right there, and I'm going to jump to the end of the story so that you guys can have an idea of exactly what happened with her. But we were more like brother and sister. So when I heard that she was in the hospital, I went in there myself. I'm involved in this story. And I took in a pocket full of Microdaily, and all I had was the original at the time. And I told her how to take it. She took some that night. And basically, she, as you can see, she's doing pretty good. And I took a video of her when I went back in and saw that she was actually moving all of her body parts. The whole left side of her body was gone. But here's what happened after I went back.
I feel like, I'm going to keep on with the supplements, as you mentioned. And with Jehovah's help, I'm just looking to get better and better. And I mean, seeing is believing for me. What can I say? Like I said, everything is in motion. I'm up, I'm at 'em. And with Jehovah's help, I'm going to try to keep it as optimal as possible.
So here's the video 2 days later. So that was
what's so special about waving them arms now, Terry?
I couldn't even lift the arm. The arm was not there. It was gone.
It looked like you lifted pretty good.
Yeah, right? They'd say, "Lift your arm, and lift this arm, now lift this arm." And as far as I was concerned, it was lifted, but it wouldn't come up from my leg. It was right there. Try. And then they hold it up, and they would go. And they'd hold it up again, and they would go. That was it. And now, hey, oh.
Well,
testimonies are pretty anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So basically that kind of gives you in a nutshell what can happen to a person. And these people just shared their story. They just told their story. I saw that one firsthand myself. That was May 5th, 2020. There was no vaccine at the time. There was nothing. And no one could get into the hospital at that point. And her own doctor told her that he did not recommend that she take the standard treatment after someone has a stroke. I gave her a bunch of Microdaily, and she believes it made a difference for her. And I don't know if you saw it in the picture there, but that walker that you saw in that room, that's what they said she was going to have to learn how to use for the rest of her life. And in time, she could possibly regain some of her motor functions. So I'm personally a believer that micronutrients are invaluable. As long as this company has them, I will be consuming them. The amount that I take, I'll be 61 this month, by the way, and I don't take the standard amount that they would give a 21-year-old soldier on a battlefield. Most of the time, I take double the normal amount, and I take lately I've been taking triple the amount because I simply don't want heart disease. I don't want a stroke. I don't want anything to take place, so I take it prophylactically. So, but you take whatever you can. And some people are asking the question, and by the way, you can raise your hand if you have a question now. But some people ask the question, well, which one of the formulas should I take? Should I take the EMF? Should I take the methylated? Should I take the original? Or should I take hydro? Let me just answer that question for you. If your budget will allow it, take the best one. take the best one. Go with EMF. That's the best one to take, and add the brain boost and the collagen to your protocol, and make sure you get the probiotic boost in there. If you can't afford that, buy whatever you can, but don't go without it. Because remember, this is just the food that's missing from our food. We're not talking about a drug here. If we were getting proper nutrients in our diet, we wouldn't need any of this. But Dr. Prasad has given us, you and me, access to the food that's been stripped from our food. Okay, we had one question here. Our co-host, Bernard Dean, you got a question or a comment? Go ahead, my friend.
Well, first of all, John, thank you for coming on. I think a number of people on here is going to have, we only have a few minutes. We try to keep it within that hour. But something amazing happened here. Actually, I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa right now. And just before this presentation, I'm over to my father-in-law's house. He was in such pain. He was just laying there, and he says, "You know what?" He said, "I can't sleep. I can't do nothing." He said, and so my wife, who's a massage therapist as well as esthetician, went in and kind of was massaging his legs to get circulating. I told her, I said, "Well, why don't you just take 2 CBDs and 2 microdailies, and let's see whether we can get." And he was sitting on the bed, just moving, and you could tell it grimace look. And we gave it to him just before this meeting began. We gave it to him along with a small massage. And it's interesting. I just got up. I just went back. There you go. Hello.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Can you steal it? Okay. And so I just went back to the room. He's back there asleep. And this man he's had 3 back operations. He is in incredible pain. And within the hour, this man has actually cut the lights off, the television off, and he's back there sleeping. So there's a lot of truth to, now it doesn't happen to everybody, but with him, my wife is sitting up and she's amazed. She's calmed down. And this man's sleeping. So what a wonderful testimony that happened within the last hour.
Wow, that's excellent. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that one, Bernard. Outstanding. Okay, we got a question in the chat. We'll take that one. This one is I have a gap in my 90-day regimen. Will that affect any of the cells that are produced in the 90-day period? Yes and no. You don't have to worry about that. You just get back on the horse as quick as you can. Shirel, just jump right back on. Don't worry about that because your body can heal itself. Even if there's a break in your regimen, your body will pick right back up and overwhelm any of those deranged cells. But try not to have a break anywhere in there if you can. That's the way to go. And Esther Pittman has a question you want to ask.
Yes, I was the experience that was just told, the one that was in the hospital. You were saying that you gave her the macro daily and she started back functioning. How much did you give her?
Very good question. And remember back then, this is May 2020, they weren't letting anybody in the hospital. So I found a way in, and I just opened up. I took a bunch of little baggies about this size right here, little small baggies, and I put 3 capsules in about 10 bags and just shoved them in my pockets. In fact, I had on this jacket right here and just filled them in my pockets. And I just walked in there like I owned the place. And they just took my temperature and let me wave me on by. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why. I just did it. And so I'm that kind of person. I'm gonna act like I'm the owner of any place. I'm gonna walk on in like I belong there. So I went up to her room and she nearly passed out just seeing me standing at the door. But I had her take 3 right in front of me because I wanted to see if she could do it herself. Mm-hmm. So she took that little baggie and she was able to open the baggie with her right hand and she swallowed the 3 capsules. And I gave her the other, what I had left. And I said, now take 3 more tonight before you go to sleep and do 3 of those 3 times a day. That night, she woke up waving her arms and kicking. And she said, wait a minute. If I had let the whole thing play, you would have heard this. She said she got a little scared, thought she was dreaming. And she looked at her hand and she raised it in the air because her left leg was kicking and kicking off the covers. She said, how am I doing that? So she really thought she was just dreaming. And sure enough, she's been fine from that point on. She'd just come out of ICU just a couple of days before. And just a couple of days. And in fact, it was the first day out of ICU. That was like a Thursday and or Friday. And I took that video 2 days later after she took a stroke. So, because that was my evidence, I was there and it happened. And she waved both of those arms and was kicking those feet. So 3 capsules 3 times a day is what I put her on. Now,
Right.
today, I would have done something totally different. I would have said 4 capsules 3 times a day at least. But in that case, 3 times a day did it.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah, it happened. That was pretty amazing.
that's amazing. That was
Thank-
amazing.
And we have stories, but by the way, of individuals who recovered from stroke 10 years, a stroke that happened 10 years prior, and someone else who'd had a stroke around 20 years prior that had some improvement. So we just didn't have time to show all those, but maybe next month, I'm going to include those also in one of our presentations, okay?
Okay.
All right, so
Thank you.
thank you very much for asking the question. So, okay, who else is there? No, that took care of everybody then, Bernard. I think we got everybody this time. I can't even believe it. Oh no, Colleen Rivers is jumping.
They're gonna jump in the last moment. It's the top of the hour, so it's the last 2.
Yes, I'm jumping in.
Go ahead, Colleen.
I'm going to be sending product to Rwanda, Africa, and never done that before. But my brother-in-law took off down to see his brother who has Parkinson's disease. And Gary and I decided that we better send Micro Daily, Brain Boost, and the probiotic and the collagen. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The collagen will be very beneficial because of what it does as far as beta amyloids is concerned. So highly, highly, highly recommend taking the collagen daily. So extremely good for the brain.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let us know what happens, okay?
Okay, I will.
All right. And Karen Jenkins.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Prasad and Jonathan.
No Prasad today. Well, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I saw on one of your videos where you mentioned that 1 CT scan is the equivalent to 20 X-rays.
Yes, I have heard that. That's correct.
Okay, so my question is, when you're having CTs and mammograms or MRIs, what have you, what do you suggest, how many, and what do you suggest that you should take prior to the exams and after?
If you have the EMF, take 5 capsules before and 5 capsules after.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And it's amazing what your body can do in fighting back the damage caused by that radiation. So that's in addition to what you would normally take for that day, okay? All right, now, and Belinda, you got the last word on this, Belinda. We'll let you slip this in.
Thank you. Great call on today, Brother Jonathan. And
Thank you.
Here. Yes, I have a friend that he had a 2 back operations, and he's also dealing with diabetes. I gave him 2 of the sample packs, and I told him to take 3 of the EMS 3 times a day. He said it did nothing for him. So what should
okay?
So I'm tempted to give us some more samples.
You said diabetes.
Diabetes and major back problems. He's already had 2 surgeries.
And you gave him 3 capsules. He took 3 capsules twice a day?
3 times a day.
3 times a day. And how old is he?
He is probably about around 65 or so.
Okay. All right. So first of all, being over 50 is a chronic condition. So that by itself would put him in taking twice the amount, if at all possible. So I would highly recommend that encourage him to just double it up and do it 3 times a day. So you said it's EMF?
Yes.
Even if he just was to go with the original formula for a while, just tell him to take 4 to 5 capsules, between 4 and 6 capsules, 3 times a day, and just stick with that for about a month and watch what happens.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
4
Excuse
capsules
me,
3
Jonathan.
times a day and see what happens.
Excuse
Okay,
me,
thank-
Jonathan.
Is that Esther?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
You may want to remind her to tell him to drink enough water too.
Make sure he's drinking water. If he's not drinking water, the toxin's going to back up.
Okay. Yes, he does drink a lot of water. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Very good. Thank you. Okay. So there you have it, folks. Listen, next week, we're going to be talking about collagen daily. And you're not going to believe who's going to be with us here next week. The CEO and owner of Engage Global is going to be with us as part of our discussion next Sunday at 5:00. The company has had the nerve to find a way to refine the collagen daily and make it even better. So we're going to be talking about specifically about the benefits of collagen daily and why everybody should have that in their diet, what it does, how it affects the entire body. Some of the testimonials are going to absolutely blow your mind, but we get to hear from Dave Nemelka. We get to talk to him a little bit about this manufacturing thing, because, manufacturing is important. You just can't just slap this stuff together and expect that everybody's going to be fine with it. So we get a chance to hear from him about how this manufacturing process is going. So make sure that you're back here next Sunday. We're here every Sunday now, every Sunday at 5:00 Eastern Standard Time, with or without any of the other individuals supporting us, because I think there's information that everybody needs to be exposed to. Everyone needs to have answers to questions. Everyone needs to know that there's public information available for us that we could have access to if we only knew how to tap into it. They can make a major difference in our lives. So we'll be passing that on. So we'll see you all next week. Now, for any who would like to stick around for a brief opportunity meeting, we're going to be talking a little bit about the business opportunity associated with the company Engage Global. All right, so stick around for a few minutes and we'll have an opportunity to meet with you all. Okay, y'all have a good night, everybody.
Let's go!
Nice to hear from you there, Daryl.
I want to be with my family.
All right, let's get ourselves started here. We're just going to tell you a little bit about whether or not there's an opportunity associated with this company, Engage Global. So let's do that. Take advantage of this opportunity to do that right now. Thank you, Bernard. If you're still here, Bernard is over. It's late night in South Africa, and we certainly appreciate Bernard joining us. So let's just do this real briefly. And some of you may have some questions, so we're not going to take a whole lot of time with going through this discussion, because to answer the question, is there an opportunity? The answer really is yes. And I can tell you just in real time that my background was computer electronics and engineering. I've been doing public speaking for more than 35 years, but what got me and my wife studying nutrition, biokinesiology, iridology, and all those other ologies was because my wife was dealing with some chronic health issues. And we stumbled across glutathione. And glutathione started making a big difference, but that led to opening up many, many other doors that finally made a big difference for my wife. Now, because I still blame the medical system for my mother's passing away, I believe that had they had what I thought was a very common thing, the intensive care nurse said to me that they were looking for an immune system kicker-inner. And I can't understand why you could be in a hospital. This is the place you go to when it's just a knockdown emergency and life is hanging in the balance. You mean to tell me the one thing that could make a difference right now is something to kick my mother's immune system in, and you don't have one here? They just didn't have anything like that. But that's what the woman said to me, that they were praying for my mom's immune system to kick in. And I still will never forget that as long as I live. So but that told me that I was in the wrong line of work, because if it's something that simple, then it doesn't make any sense. It's a matter of finding that and telling everybody about it. So I have been determined to tell as many people about it as I possibly can. And that's what I do. I'm telling everybody about the immune system kicker-inners that are available, and we all have access to them. And I will continue to do more and more research to make sure that everyone has an idea of what they can do to make themselves feel better. Take charge of your health. Now, that being the case, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity. But how do you know if this is the right opportunity? How do you know if Engage Global is offering the right opportunity? Well, I believe that there's 7 things that you need to take a look at to determine if something is, in fact, an opportunity. And those 7 things need to all align themselves in order for it to really, truly work out. Okay? And we're going to talk about all 7 of these just really, really briefly. I mean, I'm talking just snap, snap, snap. But take the first one, for example, a market. You've got to decide what market you're in. If you're in the middle of the Sahara Desert and you're selling sand, it's not going to work out too well. You're selling the wrong thing. There's a market for sand, but it's not in the middle of the desert. You might want to be thinking about water or something like that, but it's just not going to work in that situation. What about wellness? Is there a market for wellness? There's people who study wellness. There's people who study trends, people who study marketplace. And statistically, and the link, by the way, is on the bottom of the page. You can see it down there at the bottom. They say that right now, the wellness industry is a whopping $4.37 trillion industry, not pesos and not yen, US dollars. The United States alone is $1.2 trillion. And just look at some of these categories. The main categories, the top 2, is where Engage Global products primarily concentrate. So people are spending money in that space. They just need to know that you've got something in that space. They're already spending it. So it's not something that you got to talk somebody into. They're already doing it. But now the trend is the next thing. Is it on an upswing or is it on a downswing? Once again, the people who study these kinds of things indicate that coming out of COVID, the trend is upward, 9.9%. If something is trending upward by 0.5%, that's positive. This is almost 10% trending upward coming out of COVID-19. As the industry recovers from the pandemic, people are going to be looking for what you got. We just spent an hour talking about COVID brain or brain fog. And that's one of our easy ones that we can offer supplements to help ameliorate. So the trend is definitely positive. But the question is, what exactly are you selling? Again, this is from a marketing perspective, an opportunity perspective. What are you selling? Well, what you sell, what the product is just as important as the market and the trend. For example, I just told you about the Sahara Desert, but let's take music, for example, the music industry. Is the music industry a strong, solid industry? You better believe that it is. Is it trending upward? Absolutely. There are more and more people jumping into that industry every single day, and they are making millions and millions. Just ask Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and a whole bunch of other folks. There's tons of money being made in there. But if your product that you're selling is 8-track tapes, you're out of business. Right industry, positive trend, wrong product. Your product has to have three things in order for it to be useful. It's got to be unique. It must be consumable, and there has to be a demand for it. If you don't have just one of those things, you're in trouble. Every single engaged global product is unique and consumable. Every one of them. Just look at the spread there. They're all unique and they're all consumable. There's no other product like them on the market. Each one of them is unique. More than one of those has patent pendings on them right now, not to mention the flagship product already is backed by 7 patents with 2 more pending. Is there a demand though? Do people need this? The answer is absolutely yes. You could just do the research yourself. I just did this little search here on the American Heart Association website, and they say that heart disease death rates spiked during COVID-19, erasing years of progress. One of the patents that the original military micronutrient formula has is for pulmonary and heart health. So it's a unique formula that benefits the heart. Unique, with no side effects. It's not toxic in any way, shape, or form. So we have people on this call right now that could tell you their story about how they believe their heart was impacted in a positive way by adding micronutrients to their diet. There's a demand for what we have. Just go to the CDC's website and you'll see that there's increases all across the board in all the major health categories. The one that should be most disturbing to everybody is all-cause mortality right now is up like crazy. There's an 16% increase in all-cause mortality. So that means that all the reasons why people typically die is up since COVID-19. People need what you have to offer. So yes, there's a high demand for what we have to offer. The company, is the company solid? You better believe it. They've been around since 2012. There's less than 5,000 affiliates. I think there's less than 3,000, maybe less than 2,000 affiliates right now, and they are well funded. This is the brain behind the products, the formulas themselves. Told you all about him already, but this is a brilliant man as far as product formulations are concerned. And then the wealthy David Nemelka, venture capitalist, decided to just buy the whole company out and just took it over. The company is rock solid. The two of these together, you got the brains that's matched in with the brawn, and you got something very, very solid there. They've been around a while. The best companies, by the way, are the ones who are, this is in the world of opportunities. If you can find a 5-year-old startup company, then you really have found something. We're in a 10-year-old startup company, which really means that we found something, a tremendous opportunity right now. And we're still in the sub-basement when it comes to this. The compensation plan is like no other on the market right now. You can build a team and you can get yourself between 5 and 10% across the board on everything that your team sells. So that means if you just want to make $300 a month, you can. If you want to get up to more like $10,000 a month, you can. It is possible. It's doable. We have folks that have reached those levels just this past year and beyond. There's also a customer commission. So that was team bonuses, but there's customer commission. With a customer commission, you could set your level. This is in addition to your team bonus, or you could do one or the other, or you could do both. Doesn't matter. But here's a separate income stream. If you want to make $228 a month, it only takes 6 customers. If you want to make $900 a month, it only takes 16 customers. You see that? These numbers are real based off estimates of $190 average customer payout. If you want to make a little more than that, enough money maybe to pay rent or a mortgage, then you can do that. And it only takes 32 customers to reach $1,800 a month. That's huge. That's because the company pays anywhere between 10 and 30% commission on customers. Then they got an all of it bonus. The all of it bonus is what changes everything. Everything. This bonus by itself is staggering. You sell a bundle and the company pays you all of the upfront money. They wait for theirs until after the 90-day subscription because the majority of the customers stay 90 days. All of it bonus. That's right. If you sell one of these bundles like this one, Dr. Prasad's Choice Bundle, you make the entire amount of that first order for that first month. You make the entire amount. The number has changed here. It's I think it's 247 now, not 256. And I used to pay a little extra for the shipping, so it works out to be about the same amount. But that's what you get paid. The whole $247 is what you get paid. So still not real clear, because every time I share this information, someone says, explain the all of it bonus. Well, here I'm going to put it another way. If you sell a Dr. Prasad's Choice Bundle, you make all of the money. Really can't get any simpler than that. What that means is, while you were building up your $228 residual income, you put $1,140 worth of gas in the car while you were building up your $228 per month residual income. While you were building up your $900 a month income, you added another $3,000 in your pocket in all of it bonus. While you were building up your $1,800 a month residual income, you put $6,000 in your pocket. So the all of it bonus is really funding your business building. You can use that to fund your business building. So market, trend, product, company, compensation, check, 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 all across the board, absolutely. But what about leadership? Ask anybody who's on this meeting now, do they feel that they're being supported by solid leadership in this company? And they can tell you, they'll all tell you the same thing. This is a snapshot of a typical calendar. These events that you see on the calendar right here, we have those every single month where leaders, legacy team leaders, ambassador leaders, freedom, the growth team leaders are doing meetings, conducting meetings every single day, practically of the entire week. And they're doing this kind of support to help you succeed in this business. So you've heard the saying, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. That's very true. Because the growth team and the legacy team, they're supporting you. You bring your people to a meeting, and I've heard it, I'm here all the time. I know that it happens. You bring your guests to meetings on Sundays like this, they come back to you simply wanting to know, how do they sign up? And we repeat it over and over and over again. It's the same thing every single time. You bring them to the meeting on a Sunday, they come back to you, and they simply say, how do I sign up? If you can do better than that, great. Please invite me so I can send my guests over to any of those meetings. But this is what we have in place to help out. And the last thing that's important, if to determine whether an opportunity is a real opportunity, is timing. Because timing is everything. Is this the right time, say, to invest in, say, Facebook or Twitter? I wouldn't recommend it. Maybe someone else feels otherwise. Because some people feel that when something is down, that's the best time to invest in it. I don't know. I don't know enough about those kinds of things. But I can tell you, when you're staring at something that's trending upwards, that's a very good time to jump in the game. That's a great time to jump in the game. But then again, don't take my word for it. Here's a very wealthy gentleman who had this to say when it comes to opportunities. He said that a great investment opportunity occurs when a marvelous business encounters a one-time huge but solvable problem. Folks, we have a huge problem, a ginormous problem. And it's solvable. You align yourself with this company and you have solutions that can be offered. We're not telling you on television and blast it out there and become the next Amazon, but we are saying that if you care about people and you want to build some revenue for yourself, you got a major solution at your fingertips. And interestingly, all you have to do is get back with whoever invited you to this discussion, and they'll help you to get started. It only costs $50 to become an affiliate. So you don't even have to go out and borrow money. You know, I really would like to tell you it costs $500. You know, actually, I'd like to tell you it costs $1,500 to become an affiliate, but it doesn't. It doesn't. That's just not the way that it works with this company. This company wants anyone to be able to come in, position themselves to be an affiliate, tell people about the products and the opportunity so that they can earn $500. The average person, according to statisticians, the average person is around $500 to $600 away from bankruptcy. $500 to $600 a month away from bankruptcy. That's a cakewalk with this company. We've got folks here that are making over $1,000 in a very short period of time. We're not making any income claims. We can't do that. But if you work, the possibilities of earning revenue is there for anybody who wants to do it. So I recommend that when you pay your $50 to become an affiliate, I recommend that you sign up for the Dr. Prasad's Choice bundle right away. And then that way you can become a product of the product. Then anytime your prospect asks you what you did to get started, you could always tell them, I started with the Dr. Prasad's Choice bundle, and you'll see your business just explode as a result of that. So do I think that this is an opportunity? Yes, I do. I believe it's a great opportunity for anyone. And I would encourage you to take charge of your tomorrow. You can do that today. Just get back with the person who invited you, and they will help you sign up and get yourself started with the Engage Global opportunity. So we're going to pause here for a couple of seconds and take a moment or two just to get to answer a couple of your questions. If anyone has a question about the opportunity, now is your time. Now is your time. So don't hesitate, don't delay. There's no such thing as a stupid question, by the way. The only stupid question is the unasked question. So don't hesitate. Okay, that's good. That's good. That means everything was covered. That means it was all.
Jonathan, may I ask a question, please?
Go ahead, Jocelyn.
I'm pretty sure I've asked you this question before, so don't hold it against me.
That's all right.
But when you give someone the way to take the micro daily or any other products, and you say take it 2 capsules 3 times a day, are you talking about a person get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, they go to bed at 10 o'clock at night? Those hours, are you talking about an actual 24-hour day?
In a 24-hour day, basically.
Okay.
So let's
I know
say
that's what it means to me.
Yeah. Basically, you want to separate it by at least 12 hours because the product has a 12-hour half-life. So if you take your first dose at 8 o'clock, just take your second dose at 8 p.m.
Gotcha.
So if a person is taking it 3 times a day, which you can do, I do it sometimes 3 times a day. I take it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And sometimes I'll hold my last dose to just before I go to sleep, because if you take the last dose just before you go to sleep, it really helps you to sleep deeply.
Okay, now wait a minute. I think I just got lost a little bit. Okay, I understand 24 hours every 8 hours that way. But when you say sometime you do it breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
right?
That's a little more. But wait a minute. It depends on how many you're saying to take too.
Exactly.
So this is based on 2. If I'm taking 2 breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's 6 for my waking hours.
Correct.
If I'm taking it 24 hours, I take it every 8 hours.
Correct.
And that'd be my pretty much the same amount.
Correct. Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Okay, got you. Thank you so much.
You can adjust it according to you, because some people don't want to eat a little bit later at night. So if you just want to do it at dinner time, fine. So, but you can adjust it. There's no hard and fast rule, on how to take it. Get it in your body, let it do what it does.
Okay, so I'm doing right to emphasize that it's food.
Yes, you got it.
Okay,
You
thank
got
you.
it. And as a reminder for some folks, just keep in mind that there are some fat soluble components to the product. So that means that if you take it on an empty stomach, there's some parts of it that you may not absorb the best. So make sure you have something in your stomach, some kind of a fat. It doesn't matter really what it is. It could be a couple of nuts. It can be avocado, but that's why we just say basically take it with a little bit of food, because almost all food has a little bit of fat in it, but that will help it to absorb properly. Okay. All right. So listen. Yeah. And Freddie mentions there, make sure you're taking probiotics also. The probiotic boost is absolutely phenomenal. So we highly recommend that as well. Okay, folks, it's been a real pleasure and a privilege to be with you guys again on this Sunday when so many folks are taking time off to be with their families. We can't commend you enough for being here. But we'll see you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You folks have yourselves a good night.
Good job. Good job, Jonathan. Good job.
Let's go.
Great job.
Good night.
Let's go.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank
Great
you.
session. Great
Thank
session.
you, Bernard.
Bernard.
Thank you. Thank
Let's
you.
go.
You're quite welcome. You're
That
quite
was
welcome.
Nancy Montgomery right there.
Yes,
Wow.
Well, it's gonna
it
get
is.
I thought
it's gonna
so. I thought I
it's
recognized that
gonna get
voice.
better and better, people. It's gonna get better and better. Just hang in there
Who
and
was
keep
that?
spreading the word. Keep spreading the word.
That's Sir. That's Sir Bernard, Sir Dean from Africa, South Africa.
Yeah, Bernard's sitting totally in the dark. This is for the next 2 hours. So that's power off. Good night, everybody.
Good.
Enjoy Africa,
Let's
Bernard.
go.
Thank you so much. Good night,
Is
everybody.
the stars
Thank
out
you all.
there?
Good night.
Yeah, the stars out, but you can't see
Night.
nothing here.
Good
Can't see
night,
nothing.
Karen.
Wow.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
hey, Freddie.
Hi.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Freddie.
Bye-bye. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you guys for coming. See you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Let's go.